Hello everybody, this is PotterBrony, and welcome to another band reaction of some My Little Pony fan work. This time we have Pinkie Tales, The Little Mermare, by Magpiepony. As always, link in the description below. Be sure to support the official release. Check out our channel over there. I'm sure you already have. But let's just get it started and see what they have in store for us this time. And also should say Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there who is a mother. To my mom especially. So yeah, let's just get it started in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Pinkie Tales.
Alright.
Little Mermare.
From the look of it though, from the
You're in for
thumbnail,
such a treat tonight,
looks like
Dr.
Pinkie
Pepper.
finally has
This is
the
one of my
leading
favorite
role in
stories, like
Pinkie Tales.
ever. It's all about the mysterious merponies that live under the sea. Shall we get started? Once upon a time.
Shall we get started?
Long ago, before the creation of Equestria, there was a vast cloud kingdom called Skyvale. It was the single largest Pegasus kingdom in the world, and it produced the weather for all neighboring Earth and Unicorn kingdoms. The Pegasi worked tirelessly, creating rainbows, wind, and rain clouds that would then be traded away in exchange for food. The city itself hovered over a great blue ocean so that it could use the water for weather production. Ships of food and supplies had to sail all over this ocean to reach Skyvale. However, over a short span of time, less and less ships were able to reach their destination. Surviving sailors told tales of mystical singing voices that would lure the supply ships to their doom, sinking to the bottom of the ocean, crew and all. Scholars and skeptics ruled these tales as myths, denying knowledge of any known creature able to pull off such a feat. Unbeknown to the pony world above, an underwater city called Aquatica lay directly beneath the Pegasi. It was inhabited by all the creatures of the ocean, including the fabled merponies. The wise and benevolent king had forbidden his subjects to swim to the surface world, lest they be caught by the pony races above. He feared those ponies would invade his kingdom and take their resources for their own greedy purposes. This, however, did not stop the curiosity and adventurous spirit of the king's daughter, Partio. Against her father's wishes, she would swim to the surface to learn of the world she was forbidden to see. One particular afternoon, Partio made the journey towards the surface in search of something special. Her faithful friend, Floundershy, followed nervously, despite her growing anxiety of being caught.
Partio, are you sure we should be going this way? Some pony might see us.
Floundershy cautioned, darting her eyes as she swam.
Oh, you're just being a scaredy pants, Floundershy. Besides, I have to find something special for Modcod's birthday. Remember? Get it? Modcod? Because cod is a type of fish.
Yeah.
I know, but you never know what might be lurking, waiting for us. I thought you loved all kinds of fish and animals. Oh, I do. I love sea stars, and sea sponges, and Nemo, and even a nice shark, but have you seen an octopus trap its prey? All those arms. Why does it need all those arms? You're silly, Floundershy. There's no octopuses here. Come on, it's not much farther.
Yes, because that's the plural.
Giggled at the silliness of her friend's phobias and continued towards the surface. It wasn't long before she broke through the waves, smiling at the sunlight overhead.
This is cute art.
Nothing like breathing in the dry.
Of course, Floundershy looks weird, but
I guess that means
cute.
the pony part of me still has air-type lungs, and the fish part of me has gills. Does that mean I can breathe from my flank?
Let's try not to question the logistics of merpony anatomy, Pinkie.
Ugh, you're one of those.
You suck out all the fun.
Saying big ol' icky words I can't understand. What are you, a Twilight wannabe?
Partio scanned the waves.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be like Twilight.
In order to meet up with a strange Sky Dweller friend.
Are you ignoring me?
Oh, Partio, is that you, darling?
A familiar voice called.
I forget the bird's
name.
name.
Swam to greet her friend, Floundershy trailing after her just beneath the waves.
Partio, what brings you up here?
Hang on, Birdity. Hey, you! Don't you ignore me! I have a legitimate question
The other narrators warned me about you. They said if you get out of line,
That's
can
why
send
they
you
don't
to the
last.
bad Pinkie corner.
But I'm the star. You can't punish the star or the story won't continue.
I guess you'd better behave, or Pound and Pumpkin will be very disappointed, won't they?
You don't play fair.
Low blow.
But that's really smart. I like you. We're gonna get along just fine, you and me.
So, Patiel, what brings you up here on this glorious day?
Birdity asked. Birdity was a seagull, and the first and only friend of Partiel's who lived above the ocean. She would spin marvelous tales of her travels, and show her little trinkets she had acquired from the ponies in the Cloud
Interesting
Kingdom.
stuff. So who's gonna play Eric and Ursula?
My
Trying to
sister's
make
birthday is
guesses.
today, and I want to get
I'm
her
not even
something
gonna guess.
extra super duper amazingly special for Nick.
Won't your father be suspicious
Maybe
if you
cheese
bring her
sandwich for
something
Eric?
from the pony world?
Not really in character,
Please.
but
He doesn't know
I
his
ship it.
pearls from his dingle hoppers. How would he find out?
Birdity smiled and displayed an array of gemstones she had collected over the years and stashed on her little island.
Alright, let's see what I have here for your sister. An emerald perhaps? Or a ruby? I suppose it would depend on her colors. Tell me, is she a winter or a summer? It makes all the difference, darling.
Ooh, that one! That one!
Partiel shouted, pointing her hoof at a dull and unremarkable stone that had washed ashore.
That.
yeah, she'd
But
like that.
that's just a rock.
Aren't all of these rocks?
Well, technically I
Yeah, but
suppose
some are more
could
snooty than
be
others.
classified as rocks, but these are gemstones. Far more valuable than any washed up little pebble. I thought you were looking
Only as
for
much
something
value
a
as you
little
attach
more
to it.
exotic.
Rare bird
Why
or
bother coming to shore if
whatever
you're
the
going
hell
to
your
pick
name was.
something that can be found anywhere in the ocean?
Nuh-uh! This rock looks just like a sea cake! You can't find that on the ocean floor! It's super duper special, and Modcott is gonna love it! Can I have it, Birdity? Can I?
Birdity.
Oh, all right. If you insist.
Thanks, Birdity.
Partiel started, but was cut off when she noticed a strange array of colors pass overhead from one cloud to the next. Partiel had never seen a rainbow before, and its beauty had left her speechless.
Oh my.
Alright, so it's
Looks
Rainbow
as if
Dash.
the prince is at it again.
Yep.
The prince?
Why not?
Oh yes. The Pegasite prince has a habit of taking the rainbows from production and flaunting them about when he flies. It is rather lovely though, isn't it?
Rainbow.
The second prince.
Is that what that is?
Partiel said, reaching out her hoof in bewilderment.
Speak of the stallion. Here he comes now.
The blue Pegasus with a mane that matched the brilliance of the rainbows he carried was flying fast and freely overhead, and...
And what? And what?
Do you
Finish
mean to
the
tell me
story,
the
man.
Prince's Rainbow Dash again?
Excuse me, but this is Prince Dashy. Totally different prince and a totally different story.
No, it's Rainbow Dash, and she was already a prince in Cindershy.
Look, I can't go around making every pony think that I'm a Flutterdash shipper. Okay? It's Prince Dashy, and he is totally different from that other prince.
Okay, so where
If you say so.
Birdity is a mare, Floundershy is a mare, but Prince Dashy is a stallion.
Don't question my logic. We're all just playing a role here. Genders mean nothing.
As the prince flew, a colorful
That's some
rainbow
nice
would follow
art.
like a streak of light in the sky. Partiel could only catch glimpses of the prince as he flew quickly from one cloud to another. She sighed and put her hoofs to her chest, looking down at it in confusion.
That's strange. I feel all tingly inside.
Partiel, do you have feelings for the prince? A mermare with a crush on a Pegasus? Oh, ridiculously romantic. You must find a way to speak to him. You must. You must. You must.
But how? The Pegasi live too far above the water to reach.
Love will find a way, won't it, Partiel? Ooh, I'm so excited. Tell you what, why don't you swim down and write him a letter, and I'll deliver it to the prince myself.
You do that for me?
Of course, darling. What else do I have going on? I'm an annoying, squawky little bird with no social standings. Go on, hurry home with you, and be back with that letter before
That's one way to put it.
Partio squeed and dove back under the waves, swimming as fast as her fins would take her. Floundershy had to grip onto the base of Partio's tail just to keep up.
But what about your sister's party?
Floundershy said shakily as she was thrashed back and forth in the water.
Yeah, that seems like a bad place to hold on.
I can do both. I'll write the letter, give Modcart her present, and then sneak back to the surface before sundown. You'll do what?
A new,
Wow,
but familiar
really?
voice called. Partio gasped.
Also makes sense,
Stopped
though.
mid-swim, inadvertently slinging Floundershy off her tail and into her crustaceous friend.
Sorry, Tribastian.
Floundershy said, swimming away from the crab to hide behind Partio.
Did I hear you say you'll sneak back to the surface? Partio, your father has strictly forbidden you to— But Twibastian, you don't understand. It's love. What?
Partio may have seen the Pegasus Prince, and, she has kind of a crush on him.
Oh, it's much more than that. I'm an impulsive teenager with single-minded determination to get what I want, and I've set my sights on something that I just can't have. It must be fate. Partio, this has gone too far.
That's a hell of a way to put it.
If that I let you swim to the surface again, he'd have my head. You're coming with me right now, and you're never to speak of this nonsense again. Understand? Okay.
Just a head and legs.
Partio said with a shrug.
Weirdest looking
giving
crab
up
ever.
Uncharacteristically soon.
I was done speaking about it anyway. I'd much rather sing.
Oh no.
Partio! A wonderful feeling I have growing.
Hey, a song.
Partio, please don't start. It's a twitchy, itchy, warm sensation. I can feel a migraine. I don't want to live without it. Until now you didn't know it. And I simply cannot doubt it. And you really shouldn't show it. There's no denying that I've fallen for some pony. Oy vey. I dream of living in the clouds and flying freely with him. No pony.
Fluttershy, Pegasus, Pinkie. Why did I say Flutter?
The rules are what keep you safe.
If I remember right, wasn't the one that she's based on, like, Surprise or something, a Pegasus?
He's the pony I'm supposed to be. How would you know? Just wait, I'm gonna see him. You mean you have only seen him? Wait until I meet him. Haven't actually met him. And even though we're from two worlds, we'll be together. Are you crazy?
Yeah, everything's gonna work out.
Living in the clouds and flying freely with him. No pony else can make me feel like I'm in love. I wanna watch the sunset from way up high. Just my Dashi, and no pony else would ever be with him but me. Do you like how I finally snuck a song into Pinkie Tales?
Yeah, it's about time.
When Partio returned to the Aquaticum Palace, her cheerful disposition quickly faded as she was met with the disapproving glare of King Crankyton.
Where have you been?
Just,
That's a good Cranky voice.
Modcart, of course.
Partio said, placing the small stone on her sister's hoof. Modcart stared at it incredulously.
Metamorphic. Combination of granite and cloudcrete. Commonly found in the construction of Pegasi dwellings.
Pegasi dwellings?
But look how it's shaped. Doesn't it look like a sea cake to you?
Partio asked nervously, trying to divert her father's attention.
It looks like a rock. Thank you, Partio. I love it.
You went to the surface again, didn't you?
Well,
She was only trying to find the right gift for Modcart, Your Majesty Crankyton, sir.
Floundershy said, attempting and failing to help the situation.
Partio, I have told you again and again.
Nothing else happened
to
up
the
there.
surface world. They're a greedy, vile, untrustworthy race only out for themselves. If they discovered we were beneath these waters, merponies and creatures alike would be in danger. Don't you understand that?
But Doodle Daddy,
That sounds racist.
You know they're bad. Have you ever even met one?
That's enough. You will swim to your room and stay there for the rest of the night without joining the festivities of your sister's birthday.
What? But...
Twibastian, you will guard her in her room.
Me?
Is there a problem with that?
No, sir.
No problem.
Good. I don't want to hear another word about this surface nonsense ever again.
King Crankyton exclaimed, pointing his hoof in the direction of the palace.
Interesting choice
Pardiel
for the
held
father,
back
though.
tears as she swam to her room in defeat.
And aside from her
While
actual
the
father in the
uncertainty
show,
of the surface
aside from
world was a
Igneous, I
danger
can't
to
think of who else it would
There
be.
was a far more present evil
could be.
lurking under the waves.
Well, yeah,
Just
Cranky.
outside Aquatica lived 3 dark and magical creatures known as the Sirens.
Alright.
Unlike regular merpony kind, these creatures harnessed a strange magic that allowed them to affect the pony world above. Using their red crystals, they would sing captivating songs to pony sailors, guiding their ships into the rocks to drown them. Although some merponies were grateful that the Sirens kept the land ponies at bay, King Crankyton feared their magic and banished them away from the city. Over time, their home became littered
So,
with the debris
the 3 of
of the
them
ships
make
they
up
sank,
what Ursula
causing it to
should
be
be, I
named
guess.
the Sunken Ship Graveyard. The Sirens kept to themselves and did not converse with many sea creatures, only those who dared to enter their domain. Their magic allowed them to keep an eye on both pony and merpony worlds. Until now, their efforts to achieve their goal had been futile. However, the sudden romantic interest from the merpony princess gave the Sirens an opportunity too perfect to resist.
A merpony in love with a Pegasus.
The eldest siren, Adagio Dazzle, chuckled, gazing into an enchanted bubble that reflected an image of Pardiel, singing happily to her friends about her love for the prince.
So what?
Aria Blaze, the middle siren, said, uninterested.
This could be exactly what we need to finally take control of Skyvale.
I thought we wanted Prince Dashy's medallion thingy.
The youngest, Sonata Dusk, asked, obliviously bobbing her head in tune with Pardiel's song.
Duh. The medallion is what controls the weather, and whoever controls the weather controls Skyvale.
Cool.
Yeah.
Our crystals, combined with the prince's pendant, will give us all the power we need to control every ship that dares set sail on
And Ursula
our
wanted to
ocean.
control
Why do we even bother sinking ships
the Atlantis
anyway?
type thing.
The fear we
place.
collect from pony sailors is never enough to satisfy our hunger. So what makes you think adding
Those
more
are
shipwrecks
interesting
will do
motivations here.
anything?
We can sink them all at once by conjuring up the greatest storm this planet has ever seen. It'll be so epic that
And then
fear will be
gorge.
struck in the hearts of all pony kind.
Except the merponies. Merponies don't worry about storms.
Merponies don't even have magic to steal, Sonata.
Yeah, they do.
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
Do too.
Enough!
Adagio screamed, effectively silencing the pair of them.
I want you two to follow that little Mermare princess. Convince her that she might need a little help getting the pony of her dreams for the right price.
And what exactly are you going to be doing?
I'll be conjuring up a spell, of course. Something we can use to trap that little princess into doing what we need her to do.
I dream of living in the clouds and flying freely with him.
Will you shut it already?
What? It's catchy.
While Pardiel sulked and the Sirens schemed, Prince Dashy was in the sky struggling to pay attention to a very important lesson. His mentor, Daring Duke, was attempting to teach him how to
Daring
use
Duke.
the Skyvale
Alright, why
pendant
not?
to send storm clouds to the north.
Dashy, are you listening? Royal pendant, blah, 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 big responsibilities, yada, yada.
Dashy said, lounging on the cloud with his hooves behind his head.
That blah 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 is very important. You're the prince for Skyvale's sake, and your father has given the pendant to you for a reason. You and you alone have the power to send the weather across the world.
Thanks, Mr. Exposition. I think I got that.
Daring Duke growled.
Yeah,
under
somehow
his breath,
piece that together.
Then attempted to regain his composure.
It's very important that you check with the Pegasi Cloudkeepers to make sure the right kinds of weather are sent to the right places. The biggest problem you're going to have is starting up the storm clouds.
What do you mean starting up? Doesn't his magic doohickey do all that?
Yes, but only on a cloud-by-cloud basis. After you use the pendant to send them on their way, it's your duty to start the lightning and thunder for each storm cloud. You have to be very careful though. Lightning is still unpredictable. Are you sure you can handle this?
Ah, quit
Rules
your
to the
worrying,
magic.
Dookie-doo. I've been training my whole life for this. When do I start?
Right now, we're set to send this storm to the unicorns in the north. I'll go with you this time so you can...
Ready, set, go!
Prince Dashi announced, zooming past Daring Duke in an array of colors.
Using the rainbows again to show off? Oh, Dash, we've talked about this.
Can't help it.
Meanwhile,
It's automatic.
under the waves, Princess Partiel and Floundershy had managed to slip away from Twibastion's watch. As soon as she was sure she hadn't been followed, she swam towards the surface, hoping to see more rainbows and, possibly, a glimpse of her beloved prince. Floundershy didn't protest this time, knowing that it was imperative they swim as quietly as possible. Partiel could tell
No, you don't make that much noise anyway.
Overhead that a storm was brewing in the sky. She frowned, knowing that a rainbow and her prince wouldn't be around for such poor weather. She turned tail in defeat and resolved to swim home when she heard a mighty crack of thunder, followed by a loud splash. Partiel looked in horror to see a slightly charred and wounded Prince Dashi sinking in the ocean.
Dashi!
Partiel shouted, swimming after him. She didn't hesitate, scooping up her prince in her hooves and attempting to keep his head above the water. Shouldering his weight, she swam towards the only piece of land she knew existed, Birdity's Island. By the time she reached it, she slumped the prince's body on the sand and tried to catch her breath.
Wake up! Please wake up!
Partiel whispered, unsure how to help him breathe. She shook him gently once, then again, pleading for him to open his eyes.
You have to wake up, Dashi. You just have to. You can't leave me. That's not how the story goes.
I'm really enjoying this artwork.
You're supposed to be okay. Please, Dashi, you're scaring me.
Partiel continued to panic and ramble until at last, Prince Dashi coughed and sputtered the water that had been in his lungs.
You're okay? Oh, Dashi, you're okay.
What? Who are you? So pretty.
Dashi! Where are you? Dashi, answer me!
Daring Duke called from somewhere in the sky. Partiel gasped and dove back under the waves, not wanting to be caught.
Dashi! Hang on, I'm coming!
Daring Duke cried with a mixture of relief and panic in his tone. He landed on the beach near the prince and pulled him further away from the water.
Who was that? That mare. She saved me.
Hang on, Dashi. You'll be all right.
Daring Duke said, pulling the
He's
prince
a
onto
little
his
bit
back.
out of it.
With some struggle, he took off in flight towards the palace. Partiel watched the exchange just below the water a few feet away. Her mind was buzzing with the words he had said.
I don't think he's coming back, Partiel.
Floundershy said, putting a fin on her friend sympathetically.
He said I was pretty. He looked so happy. Even though he almost died, he looked at me like he loved me. I can't go on without him, Floundershy. I just have to know what he thinks of me. But how?
He had almost died.
You don't even know where he lives.
I guess that means you'll have to fly there.
Partiel and Floundershy turned around sharply to see where the third unfamiliar voice had come. Two strange merpony creatures had joined them, both looking friendly and still frightening at the same time.
Yeah, friendly.
Fly there?
The blue one friendly, the other one
That's the
frightening.
only way you can get to Skyvale, isn't it?
And it just so happens we know how you can do it.
Who are you?
Partiel asked cautiously, Floundershy hiding behind her fin in the process.
We're the Sirens, of course.
You have heard of us, haven't you?
Well, yeah.
Then you must know that we have access to some powerful magic.
And we're totally willing to share it with you, too.
But why?
Follow us. We'll explain it on the way.
The pair of sirens said, swimming away. and
Yeah,
expecting
that's
Partiel
not
to follow.
disconcerting at
I
all.
don't think we should do it. Let's just go home. But they said they could help. They said I could see my prince again.
Floundershy grimaced in disagreement. Following her gut instinct, she slipped away from the princess and the sirens when they weren't looking. She swam as quickly as her little fins would take her back towards Aquatica.
Come in, princess.
Adagio said, beckoning Partiel forward. Partiel noted that they were in a
I do
particularly
like all the
large
different
sunken
styles that
ocean.
they use, different artists
Spells
and
and
all that.
dangerous-looking objects lined the shelves, nooks and crannies of what was once the captain's quarters.
Whoa! You really have evil bad guy wear down to an art.
My fellow sirens here tell me that you have a bit of a problem. A Pegasus problem, to be exact.
I want to be a Pegasus so that I can fly up and find my prince.
Well, we can certainly help you with that,
Adagio said, gathering magical supplies while the other sirens kept
No
a
red
close
flags
eye
here.
on Partio.
You will? But why?
I don't know what you've heard about us sirens, but I assure you it isn't all true.
We're merponies,
Only
just
mostly.
like you.
We just want to belong.
So you're not villains? You're just shy magical mermares who sink ships and happen to live in a really spooky graveyard?
No ponies ever harmed.
Yeah.
The sailors merely fly away when the ship sinks.
Or use their magic to teleport somewhere else.
Or flare around in the water and scream like little guppies because they never learned how to swim. What?
We only mean to protect the merponies. Perhaps if the Pegasi understood us poor sea creatures, then they could keep other ponies from trying to hurt and use us.
So you can make me a Pegasus?
Well, yes.
But
We may be good merponies, but we don't work for free, you know.
I don't have any money with me, but I guess I could swim back and get you some if you really wanted me to. It's not like I'm hurting for riches, since, you know, I am a princess after all.
No, we
But
want...
then again, what would you want with money? Oh, I know, maybe you just want to be friends, is that it? I mean, if I were a misunderstood
No,
pony
they don't
who
want that
lived in
either.
Prince, I would just want some pony to be my friend and maybe teach me how not to seem so dark and mysterious all the time.
But you...
And if you befriend the princess, well then you've really got a good chance of impressing other ponies because, I mean, who doesn't love princesses, am I right? And I'm sure
Yeah,
your
princesses are awesome.
We want your annoying, never-ending, high-pitched, squeaking voice, so we don't have
But
to
why?
listen to it anymore.
Make it stop!
Sonata wailed in the corner while Arya covered her ears.
Well, how about she take her
But
voice
if
with
I
her?
don't have my voice, how can I tell Dashi that I'm the one who saved him? And that he was all wrong about merponies and...
You'll figure it out, I'm sure. Do you really think he won't love you if you don't talk? Trust me, we're doing you a favor here.
Oh.
I know they were going to say something like that.
Then you'll make me a Pegasus for my voice, right?
Our spell will work for 3 days. You have until then to get Prince Dashi to say I love you. If he does, you'll remain a Pegasus forever and live happily ever after.
But what if I don't?
Then you'll have to come back and serve us.
Forever.
Forever and ever?
Yes!
Oh, well, I don't know.
The clock is ticking, Partiel. This offer won't last forever.
Partio bit her lip and mentally weighed her choices. She heaved a sigh and nodded softly.
Yeah, of course she agrees.
Turn me into a Pegasus and I'll give you my voice. And if I fail, I'll work for you forever and ever and ever. I pinky promise.
Pinkie, what? What is that?
Look, just sign this magic parchment and the
What's a
deed will
pinky?
be done.
Partio took the magic
I read
quill from beside
contract.
the parchment and carefully scrawled her name on the dotted line. As soon as the quill left the parchment, it disappeared, and the 3 sirens laughed in unison. They used their crystals to conjure a magical beam of red light. It hit Partio directly in the chest and traveled up to her throat.
Wait, I didn't get to say goodbye and...
She started, but the magic pried the voice from her body before she could finish. Adagio smiled, engulfing the magic with her crystal and directing a second beam of light towards the Mermare's chest. Sonata and Arya quickly following suit. In a red flash of light, Partio's body began to change.
No!
Floundershy shouted from the entrance to the lair.
You're too late.
Arya said with a dark smile.
Let her go!
So you brought...
Twibastian demanded,
Twibastian?
swimming at the sirens in anger.
The king will be furious!
Too bad. So sad.
The magic from the siren's pendants let out a final burst of light, and Partio reappeared. Somehow in the transformation, her mane and coat color had changed, along with her body.
Yeah,
Her
that's
once
a surprise,
bright
isn't
pink
it?
complexion was now a pale white, with a yellow bouncy mane and tail. She didn't have long to admire her new flank, hooves, and wings, however, before she began choking on the lack of oxygen.
If we were you, we'd hightail it up to that little island before your princess drowns.
This isn't over!
Twibastian called, assisting Floundershy as they carried Partiel away quickly. The sirens giggled to themselves as they watched the trio
they changed her
friends
appearance,
struggle
too.
to the surface.
Our plan is in action. Good.
Adagio started, but stopped mid-sentence when she realized the voice coming from her throat was no longer her own.
Wait.
Oh my gosh. No, this can't be happening. The magic wasn't supposed to do that.
Oh, great. Now we have to listen to that high-pitched whine all the time.
This is the funniest thing I have ever seen. Like, ever. No!
Adagio
Didn't think that
screamed
through, huh?
again in anger, the other sirens having to stifle their laughter in the process.
Oh, what were you thinking?
Twibastion raged, pacing back and forth on the little island while Partiel attempted to use her back hooves.
The king is going to kill me. I am a dead crab.
Maybe we should have brought him to the sirens instead.
What? Are you crazy? He would have been even more mad. I was supposed to watch her. Not only did I fail, but now she's gone and made a deal with the sirens? She's a Pegasus now. She's the very thing the king hates the most. I am so
I guess the king's kind of
dead.
racist, isn't he?
Partiel rolled her eyes and opened her mouth to talk, but no sound came.
And, of course, you can't even talk now. How in the hay are you supposed to do anything if you can't even talk? Obviously, you had to promise something to the sirens in order for them to give you this spell. If the price was your voice, then what's the catch?
Partiel scrunched her face and put a hoof to her mouth, trying to think of a way to convey her message. She brightened when she met Floundershy's gaze and waved her hooves to get her attention.
Oh, I think she's trying to tell us something.
You think?
Yeah.
Partiel moved her hooves dramatically and changed her facial expressions, not dropping Floundershy's gaze.
Let's see. I get to be a Pegasus for 3 days and have to make the prince say I love you before time is up, or else I turn into a mermare and have to serve the sirens forever.
Floundershy interpreted. Partiel smiled and nodded enthusiastically.
You got all of that from her hoof flailing?
I guess
that's
so.
impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of good that will do us. Floundershy can't exactly follow you to Skyvale and interpret. Besides, I don't think ponies can understand animals. Well, not many of them anyway.
Then what are we going to do?
The only thing we can do. I'll have to go with Partiel to Skyvale, and you will have to stall the king until this whole mess is sorted out.
Me? Stall the king?
Unless you
Yeah,
have
that's a
a
great
better
job.
idea.
Partiel attempted for a
do that.
second time to remain on her hooves, but continued to fail, falling back on the sand and sending it toppling over her friends in the process.
I guess not.
Floundershy said, shaking the sand from her gills.
All right then. First things first. We'll have to figure out how to get you to stand on those things.
Twibastion said, Partiel nodding enthusiastically in response.
Yeah, very little time
Daring
for that.
Duke and Prince Dashi were wandering the beaches below Skyvale in search of the mysterious mare who had saved the prince's life. Daring Duke was unconvinced that such a mare existed, claiming that she was a figment of Dashi's imagination.
I'm telling you, Dookie Doo.
Please stop calling me that. You know I hate that.
That's why I do it. But listen,
Makes sense.
know that mare is out there somewhere. There's no other way I could have survived this without her.
Wait, is that her?
Daring Duke asked in shock, pointing a hoof at a clumsy-looking Pegasus who couldn't seem to fly straight.
No, the mare I saw was pink, but it looks like she needs some help.
Left. No, not right. Up.
Twibastion said in exasperation. He was hidden somewhere in Partiel's mane, near her ear, getting landsick from Partiel's amusing attempts at flight. Partiel didn't give up, keeping her sights set on the castle ahead. She didn't realize Dashi was flying to her aid, and before the prince could say a word, Partiel collided into him. The pair of them tumbled to the ground.
Whoa! Are you okay, miss?
Dashi asked, righting himself. Partiel looked up and beamed from ear to ear. She had found her prince at last. She leapt from the ground and tackled him in a
That didn't
hug,
take long.
catching the prince off guard.
Nice to meet you, too.
Dashi said, trying to pride
Yeah,
himself
crazy
in the hug,
pony.
and failing.
What's your name?
Partiel released him from her embrace and moved her lips to respond, forgetting that she was without a voice. The prince looked at her both confused and slightly amused as she flailed her hooves and attempted to convey her name.
Huh. You can't talk, can you?
It took him how long to figure that out?
Twibastian muttered from Pardiel's mane. Even so, Pardiel's over-exaggerated movements and infectious smile struck a chord with the prince. This mare was so close to the one he was seeking that he felt drawn to her.
Hey, you're new to Skyvale, aren't you?
Pardiel nodded enthusiastically.
Do you need some kind of help? My friend Dookie-Doo and I saw you struggling to fly. Here.
So you've never seen this Pegasus before,
We'll get you back to the castle
but you know the Pegasi in
I have an
Skyvale
excellent staff
enough
who can make sure you're all right.
to recognize she's not one of
Pardiel's
them.
heart leapt and she reached out her own hoof to his.
Do Pegasi live
However,
elsewhere?
She failed to remember how to keep her balance on 3 hooves and toppled over again. Prince Dashi laughed as he helped her back onto her wobbly hooves.
Mean.
You certainly know how to surprise a pony. Since I don't know your name, can I call you that? Surprise?
He didn't even attempt to learn your name, so he just names you? This is the pony you want to be with?
Twibastian whispered to Pardiel. Pardiel
Yeah,
ignored
I
her
called
and
it. It
nodded,
is surprise.
happy just to be in her prince's presence again. That afternoon, Pardiel had been given a clean bill of health by Prince Dash's staff. Once he was sure, Prince Dashi offered to tour the kingdom together. He showed her how they made the weather, and how his pendant was the key to activate... You know what? This Pinkie Tales has already gone on for a good chunk of time. I think I might just skip ahead to the romantic sunset party. Any objections?
No, nothing.
No objections? Cool. Maybe we can cut out that other song, too. Save some time. Great. On with
Great,
the
since
story,
you have
then.
nothing to say to that,
1 more
fine.
hour. Only 1 more hour. You have to get him to say it, Pardiel.
Twibastian cautioned from Pardiel's mane. Pardiel was too preoccupied staring lovingly into Prince Dashi's eyes to pay the crab any attention. The pair of them were snuggled on a blanket atop the sand of a beach just below Skyvale. Prince Dashi had wanted to watch the sunset with her and reminisce about the fun and frivolity of the days they had spent together. Pardiel had had the time of her life with Dashi, and each day her love grew stronger. Twibastian was the only voice of reason to remind her of the situation at Hoof. Every passing hour, he became more frantic in his attempts to get Dashi to say the magic
Other than they
words.
skipped ahead because there wasn't that much
days
time
ago,
left.
I would have done anything to find that mare who saved me. I thought I was in love with her. But I don't think I've ever met someone like you, Surprise. You're so fun and random. And those pranks you pulled? Classic. Though I doubt Dookie-Doo will be very happy with you for a while.
What did you
Pardiel
do?
smiled again and snuggled closer to the prince.
This sunset's really pretty, isn't it?
Dashi said, pointing to the sparkle of sunlight on the water. Pardiel's eyes widened at the mention of the sunset, and her entire demeanor changed. She quickly pulled away from the prince and put a hoof on her chest, then pointed to Dashi. She did the same to him, trying to get him to understand.
Oh, so now you listen to me.
Yeah,
Wait,
now you're
what's
worried.
wrong?
Pardiel continued the cycle, touching her chest, then the prince, touching his chest, and then herself. Unfortunately, the prince wasn't catching on.
You,
Not too bright, is you?
heartburn?
Is he?
Pardiel shook her head.
You're trying a secret hoof shake?
Pardiel shook her head again, glancing at the sunset in panic.
Oh, come on! It's not that difficult.
Twibastian exclaimed.
Well, if you know the
Pardiel's
story,
name.
yeah.
Who said that?
Prince Dashi said, examining Pardiel's head curiously. Twibastian popped out of the hair in bewilderment.
You can understand me? You could have understood me this whole time?
I can speak to any animal. It's part of my princely teachings, duh. Though, I still have a difficult time speaking to monkeys. But, wait, so who are you?
There's no time to explain. Quick, tell Pardiel you love her before the sun sets.
Pardiel looked at the prince with wide, pleading eyes, and though he didn't understand, he took the little crab's instruction.
I guess I do love you, Surprise, or Pardiel, was it?
The sun set over the water as soon as the words escaped his mouth.
Does it-
Twibastian gave a loud cheer in celebration.
Does it count?
You did it, Pardiel, you did.
But before Twibastian could finish his victory, Pardiel vanished into thin air, leaving a confused crab and prince behind.
Where did she go?
To fulfill her part of our little bargain, of course.
A new voice said as the 3 sirens emerged from the sea. Their crystals were glowing, and a trapped pink mermare hovered above the water beside them.
Let her go!
Prince Dashi demanded, attempting to fly to Pardiel's aid, but was instead
But they
repelled
never
by
said
the sirens'
he has
magic.
to love.
He
said
said
they
he
said
loved
he
her.
has
That
to
was
say
the
it.
deal.
Did you really expect us to be honest? If Partiel had read the contract rather than prattled on, she would see that she would end up our slave anyway.
And why didn't you say it to her sooner? I mean, Partiel can still read and write, right? She signed her name on the contract. Is the prince illiterate or something?
Girls, you're getting off track. We have a little deal to strike with the prince here. Now that we know you're in love with that pathetic little mermare, we're willing to bet you'll do just anything to save her.
Wait, that voice. Are you just figuring everything out now? Your precious Mermare princess traded her voice to Adagio so she could be a Pegasus for you. Duh.
Then it was you who saved me. I knew it.
Prince Dashi exclaimed happily as Partiel nodded her head. His excitement was short-lived, however, realizing the danger Partiel had gotten herself into on his behalf.
Now, is it going to be as violent an end for the sirens as it was for Ursula? Because that...
Your pendant, of course.
That was messed up in the Little Mermaid.
Taco cart.
Taco carts.
Yeah, tacos are awesome.
I've always wanted one of those.
Fat chance!
Prince Dashi shouted, holding the pendant in the air and summoning a storm cloud. He flew to the top of the cloud and kicked aside, sending bolts of lightning to the sirens and the containment field around Partiel. The sirens growled and their crystals grew brighter, deflecting the lightning and sending it back towards Dashi. The prince dodged and kicked the cloud towards the sirens to distract them. While they thrashed their hooves trying to dissipate it, Prince Dashi was flying circles around them, his pendant glistening as he did so. Soon after, a tornado formed around the sirens that sent all three of them spiraling into the air. Dashi flew to Partiel's aid, beating his hooves against the bubble around her.
Don't worry, I'll get you out of here!
Dashi said, putting his hoof against the bubble, Partiel doing the same.
The crystals! Destroy the crystals and you'll destroy the sirens!
Twybastian called from the shore.
Of course!
Dashi answered. He flew towards the tornado, using all the strength of his wings to keep from being pulled into it. Aiming his pendant just right, Dashi sent a bolt of lightning into the jumbled sirens, hitting Adagio's crystal. He gave a victorious cheer when he saw a pink ray of magic escape the tornado. The magic flew directly at Partiel, bursting the bubble that contained her. Partiel splashed back into the sea. When she emerged, her voice had been fully restored.
Partiel, you're okay!
Prince Dashi cried, flying into her open hooves.
I'm fine, but I think we have a big problem.
Partiel cried, pointing her hoof at the sirens who escaped the tornado, with smug grins on their faces, their crystals each glowing brighter than they had before.
Did you really think you had won, little prince? Now that you have restored my true voice, we can unleash our magic on you. That pendant will be ours.
Adagio announced with a cackle.
Doubt it.
She and the other sirens turned their attention to the prince and began to sing. Their hypnotic spell was drawing the prince towards them, and he was helpless to stop it.
Dashi, no!
Partiel cried, holding him back as best as she could. Twybastian aided the princess, jumping from Partiel's mane onto Prince Dashi's back and crawling up to cover his ears.
Don't listen! If you don't listen, they can't control you!
The siren's singing grew stronger, and it proved too powerful for Dashi to resist. He mindlessly pulled away from
plugging your
Partiel
ears isn't
and
good
flew
enough.
towards the sirens, holding out his pendant as he did so.
I don't think so.
Daring Duke called, flying directly into Dashi and sending him to the ocean where Partiel was waiting. She caught him, putting her hooves over his ears and making sure he was unable to turn back to the singing villains. Daring Duke had swiped the pendant from the prince long before he hit the waves. The sirens, undeterred, began their hypnotic spell on the Duke. They soon learned, however, that their song was unheeded. Daring Duke had preemptively plugged his ears, effectively blocking their magic. He unfurled a whip that had been wrapped around one of his wings, and with one mighty crack, he bound all three sirens together by their tail fins.
Indiana Jones, yes.
Now it's my turn.
King Crankyton said, emerging from the water in a magnificent display. The crown atop his head was glowing, and from the pearl embedded within, a great flash of light shot magic through the air towards the unsuspecting sirens. A great swirling vortex appeared before them. Daring Duke smiled and nodded, whipping the sirens around in the air for a moment before slinging them into the portal. The sirens' screams echoed as the portal closed around them.
You know, if that were the
Forever tracking
case,
them on the other side.
then,
Whoa!
you know, Star Swirl would have been a
had
better,
that in you,
now that I
didn't
think
you?
about it,
Prince Dashi said,
would have been a
shaking
better
his head to
king
clear the trance he had been
of the
under.
sea.
I haven't really been honest with you, Your Highness. I'm not really a duke. I've been hunting those sirens long before I got to Skyvale. I knew they'd be after the pendant, so I masqueraded as a duke in an effort to keep it safe.
Oh, so you're only like me for my pendant.
Dashi said jokingly, shoving his friend. Daring Duke sighed and rolled his eyes.
You're not half as incompetent as I thought. The pendant will be safe with you, Dashi.
Yeah, only
Though I
about
have to
quarter
admit,
incompetent.
that portal of yours sure was useful.
I thought merponies didn't have magic.
Oh, we've had it, but I don't like to use it. No self-respecting pony relies on magical nonsense unless it's absolutely necessary.
Where do they go?
Floundershy asked, finally feeling brave enough to swim out from her hiding place behind the king. Artiel smiled, knowing that Floundershy had been the one to alert her father what was happening. Ultimately, she had saved her life. Partiel swam into her and hugged her tightly, before answering her question.
Can't rely high. Alternate universe X's will take care of them with alternate universe Pony Twilight.
Artiel, you are in worlds.
None of
of
that makes
trouble.
sense.
When we get back to the palace, you'll be grounded for the rest of your life, and...
Please, Doodle Daddy, please let me stay with Prince Dashi. I love him.
Partiel pleaded. Prince Dashi joined her, flying just above the waves.
And I love her too.
No, absolutely not. No daughter of mine will marry a Pegasus.
As the king ranted on, a white bird swooped in and stole the crown from atop the king's head. His wig fell into the ocean
Mine.
in the process.
Mine.
Birdie cried, placing the crown on her own brow.
My ship will live on!
The magic of the crown activated, and Partiel's fins began to change. In a burst of bright light, she turned back into a Pegasus and jumped into the hooves of her prince. Satisfied with herself, Birdie returned the crown to the king, still perched upon it in case he got any ideas about changing her back.
You're bald?
You know, if you let Partiel stay with the prince, I'm sure we could all forget that we saw that.
All right, fine.
Good way to
Stay
convince
with
him.
the Pegasus. But if this true love thing doesn't work out, you can bet I'll be back here to take you home.
Don't worry, that'll never happen. Okay, everyone can go away now. This part of the story is just too good to share.
It's rocks, in the shape of the end. I guess that means the story is over. Unless you'd like me to tell you all the different rocks I found at the bottom of the ocean.
Please do.
That's quite enough of that. Well,
Aw,
Pounded Pumpkin,
no
I
rock
hope
lesson.
you enjoyed this story.
Damn.
And I hope to see you all again next time for some more Pinkie Tales.
That was a cute one, as always. Like I said, I like the art that they're doing now, going with various artists. All really cute stuff, as opposed to, I think the first couple were just like vectors and backgrounds. Alright, Egghead and the Beast next time. Alright, so yeah, that was interesting. Like I said, all really cute stuff, the various art that they use and all that. Yeah, definitely preferable to how they did it before. Just various vectors, vector characters and backgrounds and stuff, which is good too, but I do like this setup that they have with the, you know, have the different artists, different styles, show that stuff off and help spread through the fandom and all that. Really, really cool stuff. So, I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And I'm getting this one here. Until next time, take care.